Hello, good afternoon to all of you. Welcome you all to the last academic session of the day. And this session is going to chair by Dr. Rahul Kumar Maurya, Assistant Professor of this department. Sir, I would like to request to take your seat on the dais. And in this session, we have five number of papers. Firstly, Dr. Vivekananda Jain, sir. May I request you to have your seat on the dais. Dr. Shreyansh Kumar Jain, sir. I'm requesting you to have your seat on the dais. Robin, please take your seat on the dais. Durgeshwari, Durgeshwari, please take your seat here on the dais. And Prabhakar, please take your seat on the dais. Now we will welcome to all of our speakers as well as our chairperson of this session. Firstly, Durgeshwari with Sal and Garland. Robin with Sal and Garland. Dr. Vivekananda Jain, sir, with Sal and Garland. Dr. Swayank Kumar Jain, sir. No, Dr. Rahul Kumar Maurya, sir, who is chairing this session. Yes. Now, Dr. Shreyank Kumar Jain, sir. Shreyank Kumar Jain, sir. Yes, sir. With Sal and Garland. Now, Prabhakar with Sal and Garland. Again, welcome to all of you to this event, wonderful event. We are going to conclude our academic session of this seminar. And we have five number of papers already announced their name. Now I can request to the first paper, speaker of the paper, Dr. Vivekananda Jain sir, who is going to present his paper on Jainism and ecology, the Jain way of life. Sir, please continue.
Good afternoon to all respected chairs and all the participants in the seminar hall. I am going to present on the topic of Jainism and ecology, the Jaina way of life. The Jains are an ancient community of India with their own distinctive religion and philosophy, worship and rituals, social customs, and cultural tradition based on non-violence. The word Jain is derived from Jin, which means winner of all senses of bodies. Jains are the followers of Jina, the conqueror, the spiritual victor, the one who has conquered all the worldly passion and desires. A Jina is a human being who obtained omniscience through his own efforts. The lives of individuals who are the followers of Jainism are mainly based on non-violence. From yesterday, we are discussing that Jaina way of life mainly based on non-violence and anekantavad. It is coming from traditions since thousands of years. Jaina people are not only taking care of living beings, but also caring non-living things. They are respecting nature and living with harmony with all. So, man ecology. Ecology means relationship between living, non-living, and environment is called ecology. So, biotic, abiotic, and environment. All three things comes together, then we say ecology. So we are discussing Jaina way of life, Jain ecology, and our main theme is way of life. So all problems of life are problems of harmony. Marci Arbindo told, all problems of life are problems of harmony. So Jainists believe in nature and we should live in perfect harmony with the environment. We should not create any problem to the environment. We should adjust. Then we can enjoy all the facilities. There are two sects of Jainism, Digambar and Shwetambar, everybody knows, and we are all followers of 24 Tirthankaraj. And all Tirthankaraj are associated with some plants, a tree. All Tirthankaraj performed their tapa, austerity, severe penance under trees. Now we can see them in Tirthankar Batika at Haridwar, Ujjain, and many other places. Because there is a relationship of plants with Tirthankaraj. So this is the Tirthankar Batika which I have visited in 2008 at Santi Kunj Gayatri special all Tirthankar's name and one plant related to him. Same thing happened in Madhya Pradesh at Ujjain, Jain Tirthankar Batika Ujjain, because each and every plants are having medicinal value also. So all plants are auspicious, worshipable, and everything. This is the list of plants and name of Jain Tirthankaras. All 24 Tirthankaras are associated with one or other plants. Like Bhagwan Adinath is banyan tree. Bhagwan Ajitnath, sal tree, Soria robusta. So there are different plants name which is associated with Jain Tirthankaras. Like Lord Buddha is associated with Bodhi tree, that is banyan tree at Bodh Gaya. Same way, Lord Krishna told, I am the tree of ficus religiosa, people in all trees. So there are always respect to plants in India, and we should take care of environment. Anyway, this is the concept behind that. We are worshipping ficus religiosa, people. It is providing us good oxygen and other things. All plants are having medicinal value, and this is the list of Indian Jain Tirthankaraj and their trees. As per our Constitution of India, there is Article 51A, in which we added fundamental duties of every citizen, and it mentioned to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. So this is a fundamental duties of every citizen to take care of environment and there is a guiding principle for states. So Article 48A told the state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. So this is a responsibility of state also. And in Article 48, they mention that the state shall endeavor to organize agriculture and animal husbandry on modern and scientific lines and shall in particular take steps for preserving and improving the breeds and prohibiting the slaughter of cows and calves and other milch or taught cattle. So this is the responsibility of state as well as citizen of India to protect the environment. Our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, told, Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not every man's greeds. So we should control. Yesterday we discussed aparigraha, limited possessions, limited use. If we use in a limited manner, then we can enjoy with environment. Nowadays, there is a concept of reduce, reuse, recycle to save the environment. In Jainism, aparigraha means no possession or minimum possession. It is the vow for layman and ascetic regarding minimizing accumulation of possession and personal enjoyment. The wants and desires must be reduced and kept in check as much as possible in thought, words, and action. Like Jain Muni, Digambar Jain Munis, they are having only one pichi and kamandal. So they are not having anything. They are no possession. But for a layman, there is a need to live a life in society. So we should have a minimum possession, then we can also live happy. कहा जाता है संतोषी सदा सुखी. If we are having minimum desires, then we are more happy. And vegetarianism, Jains are taking pure vegetarian food and also taking care of plants. In the Western world also they are started vegan, a vega food. They are also not using animal products and other things. And there in Jainism there is a provision of leave one thing in a week every day. Once in a week there is a provision to not use vegetable also. Ras tyag. So if we leave and one thing in a week, then also 50 days in a year, and we will be more healthy and wealthy. So like that, रवि को नमक, सोम को सब्जी, मंगल मीठा, बुध घी जान, गुरु को दूध, शुक्र दही त्यागो, शनिवार को तेल खान. इसका अर्थ है नो साल्ट ऑन संडे, नो वेजिटेबल ऑन मंडे. सो डे बाय डे इफ वी लीव वन थिंग्स, देन आवर बॉडी विल बी मोर फिट, मोर हेल्दी. As per Jain philosophy, non-violence is the main concept, ahimsa paramo dharma, and non-violence is the supreme religion, is the motto of Jains. Non-violence towards all living beings. Lord Mahavira gives the principle of live and let live, jio or jine do, to take care of all living beings. Number of times discussed anugrata, like sat, ahimsa, aste, aparigraha, brahmacharya, truth, non-violence, non-stealing, no possession, celibacy. So we are not going in depth. There is also 10 Lakshman Parv. Recently it is coming, and we are told Paryushan Parv. So in Manu also they describe 10 forms of religion. In the same way, in Jainism, 10 way of religion, like supreme forbearance, supreme modesty, supreme straightforwardness, supreme contentment, supreme truth, supreme self-restraint, supreme austerity, supreme renunciation, supreme possessionlessness, and supreme celibacy. So these are the 10 forms of religion. And at the time of Paryushan Parv, we are discussing one on one day. And after taking 10 these fast and other things, our body will be purified. We are every Jains in a year we are doing this, and we feel that we are more close to our soul. We are more pure. And after 10 days, we are celebrating forgiveness day, Uttam Chama, Chama Bani Parv. In this day, we are asking each and everybody to forgive for last 1 year mistakes. And it brings the people closer to each other. So in this way, Jainism is the way of life. We should follow the religious path provided by our ancestors, and then we can live happy. And Varanasi is the city of religious capital of India and the birthplace of four Jain peoples. Out of them, Suparshanath, Chandraprabhu, Shyansnath, and Parshanath. So this city is also very respectable for Jainism. In the last, L.M. Singhvi told, Jain philosophy of non-violence as a Bible route plan for humanity's common pilgrimage for holistic environmental protection, peace and harmony in the universe. And my conclusion is that save plants, save animals, save endangered species, and we should work in the direction of sustainable development goals of United Nations, because United Nations provided about 17 sustainable goals to live better life in society and on earth. Thank you very much. If there is any question, we can reply.
Firstly, thank you so much, sir, for your empirical study of this Jainism, and we found that so many important places and so many important concepts are closely connected with that empirical field, and you pointed it out very systematic manner. Now I can open it for discussion, but I can invite only two questions on it. Yes, thank you all for your patience. Now come for the next paper by Dr. Shreyansh Kumar Jain, paper entitled Fasting and Disease, Jain-Centric Approach for Treatment.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jai Jain. My name is Shreyans Kumar Jain, and I'm Assistant Professor in Department of Pharmaceutical Engineering and Technology, IIT BHU. And first of all, I'm very much thankful to the Bhagwan Shreyans Nath Study Fund and Principal Investigator Mehta sir and Anandji, and convener of this seminar, Dr. Garima, and head of the department, Banaras Hindu University. And thank you very much for giving this opportunity. So my topic of the today's presentation is intermittent fasting and in disease, cancer, a special focus on the Jain way of life. इसको move कैसे करना है? Okay. Okay. So I will be covering first just brief introduction, fasting in Jainism, then the technical part of this seminar presentation is autophagy, and then in third there's some clinical evidences how it works and what is the benefit of the fasting. So come to the first, fasting. So in basically the fasting is common in all the religions and cultures around the world, but in Jainism it is like a festival. Jain people have fast on their anniversary, birthday, and many other occasions. Proshad Upvas is one of the term which usually encounter when we search on Jainism in scriptures. So it means the fasting on the festival. So there is a schedule mentioned in 14th day of the lunar cycle. So means four time in a month. So in fasting, Jainism basically the objective is in Prasad Upvas basically one cannot take any type of food, whether it's a solid form stuff like wheat and other grain, and liquid water and any other drink, semi-solid, halwa or any other thing, and any other things means freshener or all four type of food is restricted on particular day. There are many other fasting schedules mentioned in the literature. Fasting for a Jain, it is not like a fasting. It basically purify the body and mind, bad karmas. And for me, is karma is nothing, is atoms, is molecules, which basically combined with the Atma. And so there are several type of fasting with complete fasting, partial fasting in the literature, Jain literature. So these are the different uh, types of fast: Varshita, Chauvihar, Upvas, Tivihar, Ayambil, Ekashna, Vyasna, Paritya, Athai, Navai, Sol Hatu, and Mast Shaman. So this is all about the fasting in Jainism. Now the technical point is autophagy. This is the terminology which, although it was known previously, but in 2016, Japanese scientist Oshumi received Nobel Prize on autophagy. Autophagy means auto means self, phagy means eating. When cell started eating its own component. So he is the person who basically first described this full mechanism in his lab on the some uh, yeast and other small animals. So I will not go in detail of the what how it works in autophagy, but the autophagy simply where cell component which we call lysozyme become larger and it start using the stuff junk material in the cell, and it basically digests that component and again reuse the digest to the smaller component and reuse again it to produce the energy. So within a decade, because the principle this autophagy was discovered in 2016, and within a decade, scientists identified autophagy basically allow the breakdown of old part of the cell, which can operate, and then it can operate more efficiently. It is a natural cleaning process in the body. And researcher now studying on autophagy, and they identify the potential role of autophagy in fighting of the diseases. So what happen in autophagy in briefly, a cell can discard its junk material, recycle the damaged part, get rid of non-functional part, and there are research which is suggesting aging is because of decrease of autophagy. हम बुढ़े इसलिए होते हैं because autophagy धीरे धीरे कम होने लगती है. तो within a decade scientists discovered a lot of thing on this uh, autophagy. So there are some area where a lot of people are working: diabetes, cardiovascular, heart, cancer, and neurodegenerative. US is having more patient in neurodegenerative, Alzheimer's. Cancer is common all over the world. Heart disease problem in Europe, diabetes problem in India. So can I induce my autophagy? This question is because autophagy is good. So yes, one can induce. How? The fasting. Fasting is the one of the way to induce the autophagy. So there are studies which suggest how the fasting is working. So first study in West, published in second reference somewhere in it is mentioned in that where I collect the data. They have conducted a study on 13 patients, kept them on the fasting, and the results are suggesting the fasting may aid to healing of DNA damage caused by chemotherapy. These patients are basically suffering from the cancer, and chemotherapy was going on simultaneously. So they observed that because when chemotherapy is going on, it damages normal body also. So they found the result which is better than the healthy control. Other study which was conducted to the breast cancer patient, total 34 individuals were taken to carry out this study, and they were going on under the chemotherapy, and the schedule was fasting schedule was as per mentioned here in the presentation. So within 8 hours of treatment, patient on the fasting diet reported to improve the quality of life and tiredness. Similar, okay, only one more slide. So similar study was conducted, and they found the better result. This is the one of the article where the title is sufficient to give the information. Intermittent fasting from dawn to sunset for 4 consecutive weeks induce the anti-cancer serum, something which is technical proteome, means something good in the body. Similar study somewhere in the other publications, and these all studies were conducted in West. And results are good. There are more than 1,000 studies going on so far in the West. And this is the study carried out by the AIMS Jodhpur, Dr. M.K. Garg, and he found the better parameter. This is basically behavior study, not focused on the any cancer patient. And the results were much better. And these are the some studies going on the different part of the world. So Massachusetts Institute, and all are in, some are Germany, some are in US. They are basically focusing the fasting alone or the some treatment regime like radiation therapy and behavioral studies and some. So, so thank you very much. If you have some question, you can ask. This is more technical. I'm sorry, I do not have something more philosophical, but if it's okay. Thank you. Any question?
Really, thank you so much, sir, for your very interesting area of study. You chosen a area like you can say very interesting for us. Now we go for the next paper by Provin. Concept of Anorthodonda Brata and its relevance.
Thank you, sir. मोक्ष मार्गस्य नेतारम भेतारम कर्मभूविरताम ज्ञातारम विश्वतत्वानाम वंदे तद्गुरुलब्धे. Good afternoon to all. Myself Praveen Kumar Yadav, research scholar in this department. Today's my paper presentation topic is the concept of Anardand Vrat and its relevance. There are 3 types of Gun Vrat in Jain practice, like Dig Vrat, Anardand Vrat, and Bhogobho Paradam Vrat. Like the place of boundary for the protection of the field, the same place is for the protection of the Aduvrat by the 3 Guruvratas. After having the limitation of direction, avoidance of unnecessary harmful activities, and having the discipline of use and consume, we can be able to protect 5 Anuvratas like Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha, and Brahmacharya. The meaning of the Anardand Vrat is that the people should not do unnecessary violence and don't make the need and goal too ambitious. We can say it's mean to avoidance of purposeless harmful activities. There are 2 reasons for the happening of any kind of violence. Pramad means carelessness and karma means deed. We know that the householder can't avoid those acts of violence which are connected with his ordinary daily activities, nor can he avoid violence which is involved in agriculture, business, or industry. On some special occasion in self-defense or to save others, he has to kill the violent attacker. For him, it is necessary to undertake proper activities to earn money for maintenance of his family, as also for accumulating some possession. Thus, there is much possibility of unvirtuous activities in layman's life. It's Observance of the five Advratas and also supporting vows constitute the path of liberation. Taking into account the unvirtuous activities which are invariably and inevitably associated with the householder's life or which have to be performed to fulfill his duties as a householder. The Jain thinker has wisely advised through the present vow that one should not to do unnecessary or purposeless harmful activities. This is the essence of the vow. Now, when we talk about the types of Anardand Vrat, the Jain Tirthankar have attempted to highlight some of the purposeless unvirtuous activities. They are divided into five areas. First, Papopadesh. One promise to not to pursue anyone for giving harmful advice, encourage warfare, helping hunters to find animals, etc., which can only increase one's tendencies towards violence and purposeless listening. It means we can say the preaching, which is the reason for acquisition of sin, is called sinful preaching or Papopadesh. And avoiding this means the Papodesh Anardand Vrat. Hinsa Dan, one promised not only to keep and give weapons, but also a few knives or other things which could be used as weapons. Although vow having man keeps the tools of violence like axe, sword, soil, etc. for his own use and use them with caution, but he does not give on demand to others because he will not misuse it, does not believe in it. If a foreigner asks for fire to cook food, then giving fire to him is not included in this fast or vrat. A third one, apadhyan, due to malice, due to someone's death, bondage, etc., and due to attachment, repeatedly thinking about and others badly is a punishment called apadhyan. Means we can say having promised not to think evil of anyone is called apadhyan. For a literal point of view, we can say that the meaning of abdhyan is false attention, which is caused by attachment and hatred. Being under the control of attachment, the attention of other things, property, etc., is done, and due to hate, there is a thought of someone's death being tied up. This is all distraction, a prevision of mind. The idea of someone's victory or defeat also comes in the Apdhyan. Knowing this is as the cause of sin, the fasting person stay away from it. This is Abdhyan Anarthdand Vrat. To Shruti. Start by listening to the scripture that contaminate the mind with courage, falsehood, malice, ego, and lust is punishment named Dusruti. To avoid these types of unpleasant things is called Dusruti Anardand Vrat. So we can say we should abstain from these things and related to that types of scriptures through which we can positively follow this vow. Fifth one, Pramadacharya means carelessness. Digging the earth in vain, scattering water, kindling fire, stopping the air, plucking fruits, flowers, leaves, etc. Roaming around unnecessarily, and others also roaming around unnecessarily. All this is the punishment called Pramadacharya. Retiring from this is called Pramadacharya Nardand Vrat. If we have to follow this Vrat, then we have to avoid each and every type of carelessness. Because after avoiding that, we can positively follow the Pramadacharya Nardand Vrat. Now, if we think about the social significance of Anardand Vrat, then in the view of Mahapragya, training in violence for soldiers, training for making terrorists, training for stealing, training in making new weapons, etc., come under the purview of unnecessary violence. In the present era, so the relevance of this vow seems to be more important in the present scenario than 26 years back. Mahavir gave this eternal value that refrain from unnecessary violence. Today, scientists do experiments for curing human disease by killing millions of frogs, rats, monkeys, etc. Animals testing is unnecessary violence as per the view of Mahapragya. Wastage of electricity by way of using of air condition and keeping entire the day and night fan switch on and never try to enjoy the natural air. Moreover, people switch on the light during the daytime, which is seen generally in houses, offices, factories, and in case of street lights too, which encourage unnecessary ecological imbalance and environmental pollution. Drinking just for the sake of business settlement or for amusement and entertainment has become the culture of the day. It includes watching, dancing, sex display, and animal combat such as bullfighting and other, which incite passions, encouraging any activity leading to the destruction of life or the giving of sinful advice, such as instruction in an immoral trade. Okay. is regarded an unavoidable activity, spending time and effort in reading, listening to do, watching pornographic material, tabloid journalism, and other such triva should be avoided while wasting time in unnecessary speaking, gossiping, backbiting, criticizing others for nothing, unnecessary ragging in college and universities, etc. are considered to be under this vow transgression. In present age, another Vrat observer should refrain from throwing tables in ponds, wastage of unnecessary water in bathing, and avoid decorating the flowers of for pump and show. Various designs through fruits were made at night in marriage function. Unnecessarily exploiting water by going to the funward hunting for one's amusement, which is considered at present not only as a guilt but also causes ecological degradation. So the Tirthankar Mahavir were against such meaningless and unnecessary violence. One can lead a successful life by following the rules of simplicity and thereby can help protecting the environment from ever increasing pollution, which is sheer need to ours. Anardhan Vrat can in society and simultaneously can prevent the individual not only from the unnecessary karmic bondage but also from unnecessary act of violence, and at the same time can help in protecting the environment too. Now I would like to conclude my paper. In conclusion, we can say if the meaning of anardand is unnecessary harmful activities and its avoidance is anardand vrat. We focus in our daily life, we are not following these types of vow, which are too much relevant. Because of that, we are facing nowadays problems like pollution, inflation, climate change, etc. In inaugural session, we have learned by Professor J.B. Sasar informed us that we should try to balance our life through the following of Mahabhrata and Guru Vrata. Otherwise, we can face a lot of difficulties. He has given an example of water that a saint or monk consume only 10 to 15 liter, but a householder consume it for approx 400 liter. It is, we can imagine that if we will careless about that, what will be the result? There is a big gap between them, and we can imagine the result of carelessly consume anything which are provided through nature. Just we have to face COVID-19, which was too much terrible. That time we have realized the value of oxygen, having mask and balanced food, which are already mentioned in the Jain discipline. This is a strict warning for us. In present time, we are aware of Russia and Ukraine war, which is also happening for ego and pride, by which we are losing humanity, multiple number of life of creature, human being and animals. So we think that Jain philosophy or acceptance of Jain way of life is more relevant with nature and society too. And we should always try to abstain from unnecessary harmful activities. Then we can get the meaning of anardhan vrat is we have to avoid of unnecessary harmful activities by which we can abstain and save our environment too. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen, for your good attempt about this concept. And I think now we can open it for discussion. Yes, I think just one question. Yes. Hello.
Sorry, Praveen ji, I don't have question for you. But while you presenting your paper, I'm thinking about Shreyans sir paper. It's like so many things coming up in my mind. First thing, you spoke about autography or caging. What is that? The terminal eating itself. Autophasing, yeah. Autophasing, like what do you mean by that properly? It's mean eating your own cell or what is it? Just one thing, let me finish. Second thing, you are speaking about fasting. So how far this fasting helps us to cure the diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. So fasting is the one way out to
Cleaning.
reverse this disease.
Cleaning.
Clean, it will reverse. It will,
Cancer may be cause of several reasons. The cancer may be cause of some stuff which is
will you use your mouth?
non-functional protein in the body. In the basically body means cell. What I'm saying is something is in the cell. So there are some non-functional protein and something which may cause ultimately the cancer. So fasting may help reducing that stuff, that protein, because cell has mechanism where it recycles that.
Through your findings, is it proved it
It
can
is not my finding, but other findings, others finding.
like it can reverse the thing, or it will improve the thing?
Improve the things.
Improve the thing.
But
Even during the
recently
session
I
of
have read
chemo also.
somewhere in the paper where the Alzheimer's case was reversed to almost 70%. 70% Alzheimer's case. So use in that case they use this fasting as a alternative. Ongoing treatment was there, whatever the treatment the patient is was getting, and there parallelly they designed some fasting regime. So the effect is was better on the patient on the who was on the fasting.
Okay,
So
thank you. In
it's,
the
it's like
future-
reversing in case of Alzheimer. Cancer, once it is cancer, it is difficult to reverse after certain age, but
you are
we can of the patient.
Oh, you said
It's
that
like
chemo, while
it's-
during chemo, fasting improves.
So when the doctor design a study, they have some study where the patient is there, patient with chemotherapy is there, and patient chemotherapy plus fasting is there. So they found the better response in the patient with fasting and chemotherapy.
Okay, thank you.
There are different studies are going on because the principle that this was discovered in 16 only 2016. This is only 10 year, not that more than 10 year. It's 8-9 year ago. So people are doing more work on that.
Okay, thank you. We are hopeful through Jain food
Thank you.
habit we can able to cure more diseases. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you, sir, for your good interaction about the important point. Now we can go for the next paper by Durgeshwari. She's also the research scholar of this department, and she's going to present on Jainism and its contribution to the world in emerging with the ultimate reality, a multidimensional study.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The title of my paper is Jainism and its contribution to the world in emerging with the ultimate reality, a multi-dimensional study. As a student of comparative philosophy, my contribution to Jainism, the Jain way of life, comes from my comparative research works and critical analysis. With all my respect to the contributions that Jainism is bringing for the entire human race on this earth battlefield or battleground called dimensional earth, the war between good and evil. Jainism, the Jain way of life, is a way to connect with spirituality, a powerful weapon to fight in this egoistic and materialistic world. It is a way to practice purification of mind and body to connect with the sacred energy that we call soul. In fact, it is a way of life to renounce the living or physical body in this egoistic world while living in this dimensional earth and lead our mission of soul. It is a way that allows us to lead and connect with the divine energy called soul to attain kaivalya, moksha, or liberation, harmony, and live a peaceful life. Now, I will come to the main concept that I have chosen to explain in a multi-dimensional form. All the ways, methods, practices that Jainism teaches us to attain kaivalya, moksha, or liberation. My main concept is energy. Everything is energy. The universe is energy. Man is energy. In this world, We are all living beings. Everybody has consciousness. There is a positive and negative energy. The positive energy is the soul and mind. The human soul possesses the fourfold natures: infinite knowledge, infinite power, infinite bliss, and infinite faith. Our physical body is made up of Panch Tattvas, 5 elements, that is water, fire, air, earth, and ether. This is all positive energy. Thus, the soul is a sacred, divine, incomparable, and unique energy found in the universe. It is energy of purity and positivity. It is the energy of goodness to overcome evil in this dimensional earth. Now, the negative energy. Everybody has his or her own way of view. It is called Satan, demon, bad karma, etc. This is all negative energy. They are dangerous, evil, dirty, and harmful energies that obstruct man from knowing his real nature and aim of earth. Thus, in this war, we are all the invisible soul of sacred energy that is visible in our living body. The negative energy uses our physical body in this physical world to manifest its terror, and its powerful weapons are anger, ego, manipulation, jealousy, stress, diseases, deception, depression, emotions, sentiments, etc. On the other hand, in this invisible war of dimensional earth, the most powerful weapon of the positive energy or the sacred soul is spirituality. Spirituality has no dimension and bondage. It is very vast and the most powerful energy of the universe. It is higher than religion, caste, education, science, modernization, technology, society, and politics. It is only spirituality that can lead us to the supreme energy, the ultimate reality or truth. It leads us to eternity that we call the divine soul, God, ancestors, creation, universe, etc., with all the respect to everybody's belief. Thus, Jainism is a way, the path that teaches us to fight in this egoistic and materialistic world with all my respect of their beliefs and all the methods that they practice in general for the liberation of the mind, soul, bad karma, and lead a harmonious Jain way of life. With all my respect, everyone has his own belief and method that they choose and practice. Confucianism, Jainism, Buddhism, Gandhism, etc. The methods that they practice are different. For example, meditation, prayer, rituals, satsang, dhyan, asana, etc. The methods are different, but all of them lead and bring us to the same dimension and place, the divinity of soul that we call paradise, heaven, eternity, etc. The significant noteworthy point is that it demands a sacred wisdom to put all the spiritual methods into practice. This is what the world of today is unable to connect with. This is so because sacred wisdom is not inherent in the curriculum-based education that we get at the schools and universities. Sacred wisdom has nothing to do with the modern methods of education. It is a pure type of learning in the universe and incomparable to materialistic education. All this existed when there was Gurukul. Great rishis, sages, and Tirthankaras, liberated souls, made use of that sacred wisdom. The sacred wisdom itself was the scope of life. The Jain sacred wisdom has no fixed price. It is free of cost. It is unlike the education of today that requires materialism. It is so pure, sacred, and divine that it is unmatchable or incomparable with education of the modern era. It is the sacred wisdom itself that is used to heal our mind. It is by healing our mind that we will be able to heal our body. It is by means of this healing that we are able to combat all sorts of diseases and problems. We are also able to control or balance our emotions and sentiments. Thus, when our mind is healed, therefore, it is at this moment that we are able to connect with a pure consciousness, follow the spiritual path, and connect with our mission and journey of soul in this dimensional earth. A healed mind is a strong mind. The Tirthankaras were mentally strong beings. They possessed a healed mind. They lived a tension-free life on earth. They solved problems with a healed mind. Sacred wisdom makes us a better human being. The education of the modern era does not impart wisdom of mental strength. Mental strength is highly essential to confront personal and difficult situations in this dimensional earth of goodness and evil. All the methods prescribed by Jainism give us mental strength to combat with our life problems. The Mahabharatas of Jain way of life contributes to its stability, but the materialistic education is failing to do so. They are not dormant, but active energies. The mind of today is residing in a world of never-ending problems due to materialism. Greed for materialism is a negative energy. He is living a life of all sorts of issues, such as paying tax, loan, rent, fine, car and medical insurances, etc. He lives in stress and depression. This can be healed by following the procedures of Jain way of meditation. A healed mind is free from stress and depression. Thus, Jain sacred wisdom is not a way of learning by materialism, but spiritualism. Emergence with the ultimate reality cannot be acquired by means of money or wealth. Ultimate reality is the highest energy. Pure consciousness is an indestructible energy of spirituality. It is energy of eternity. Bondage of karma or entanglement in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth can manifest negative energies in the life of man. Reading and understanding of the 12 sacred angas are not enough for true transformation in man until and unless their teachings are put into practice. There will be drastic change in the world only when the entire human race understands how to put the sacred wisdom into practice. The universe is drowning. It is giving us an indication every day that we have to change our mindset of living. But man is not making any effort to do so. He prefers to continue living in this egoistic world. When are we going to attain self-realization? A big question mark. We have to think about the kind of consciousness that the Tirthankaras possessed and lived in peace. In fact, all the great sages, reformers, and philosophers such as Confucius, Mahavir, and Tirthankaras, Rabindranath Tagore, Vedas, Martin Luther King, and Nelson Mandela all left their energies on earth. We simply have to connect with them. We should learn how to put them into practice. We have to know the sacred wisdom, practice meditation, penance, concentration, etc. It is essential to undergo all the procedures for the attainment of Kaivalya, moksha, or liberation. Thus, man saves himself from this egoistic and materialistic world after emergence with the supreme energy, pure consciousness, or simply ultimate reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Durgeshwari, for your elaboration, having some important concept. Now we can proceed our next presenter, Prabhakar. No, no, not allowed. Minimalistic practice in Jainism and role of social media in their promotion.
Thank you. Before I start my short observation on this process of inquiry, I am amazed to see beautiful ecology for philosophical discussions at the center. It is not coming? Yeah. So, my before I start, my brief observation on this process of inquiry. Beautiful ecology for philosophical discussions at the center. Thank you for initiating and promoting disidentified discussions and providing freedom to scholars to express themselves. Thank you. So the title of my research paper is Minimalistic Practices in Jainism and Role of Social Media in Their Promotion. This research paper is based on perception survey. So I will briefly cover the process of survey and present briefly findings and then conclusion. And I think most of you are aware about the meaning of aparigraha. So I will. So I will not go into detail in the concept of aparigraha, but briefly I will cover it. Practice of minimization is the foundation of ancient Indian religion, including Jainism. At present, the trend of overconsumption and display of materials is gaining ground, even in religion and religious practices. The desire to consume, acquire, and on beyond the essential requirements of the body is the disease of mind. The essential resources for survival on this planet are already provided in the form of air, water, and food. The degradation of natural resources, air, water, soil, etc., is the result of greed of human mind. The deteriorating air, water, soil quality are threat to existence itself. This is the result of pollution of human mind translating into natural pollution due to tendencies to overconsume. This tendency to overconsume is not only harmful for liberation, but also destructive for the planet. The core of Jainism, Jain religion is renunciation, not consumption. It prescribes for essential consumption and has not given high value to material acquisitions and achievements. The most valuable aspect of human life is attainment of liberation. It considers possessions as a barrier in the path of liberation. Even the possession of experiences is form of attachment. It blocks the door of liberation and creates prison. Overconsumption is destroying the nature and killing people and creating bondages, and it is against the real purpose of religion. The disease of overconsumption has acquired multiple destructive forms and threats. It is posing multiple threats, including the threat of destruction of the planet. So it is essential to promote real features of minimalistic practices of Jainism. That is the background. I have done this research. Briefly, I will describe about the social media. The rising internet penetration, it is around 83.4 million at present, and ownership of smartphone, it is around 50 crore, has resulted in high spending of time. Mostly, I think around 5 or 4.7 hours they are spending. And on social media, people are spending around 2.5 hours, according to EY Fiki Media 2022 report. So it has become a strong tool for market and social communication. It is influencing traditional media, government, market, and society. So social media is playing a crucial role in destruction and construction of social information flow. The last decade provided the glimpse of concentration of critical mass of conversation on multiple issues, including religious in the social network like Arab Spring, Me Too campaign, etc. So now I will come to the process of this research, that is research method. I conducted this survey in Delhi NCR area, and I used the three gems: right observation, right insights, and right conclusion. That is Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, and Samyak Charit. I have translated it in English for the survey purpose. So I interviewed around 60 people in Delhi NCR area, and the question was related to what are the current minimalistic practices among Jains, and what are the possibility to promote these minimalistic practices through social media. So finding I will describe in short. The minimalistic practices, most of them understand minimalistic practices, but in the external sense, that in terms of physical position. In terms of internal position, that is asakti, attachment, hardly people do these kind of practices. When I asked, what do you think about the overconsumption? 50% people responded that there will be no impact, but rest of the respondents think that there will be impact. Limits on consumption. Most of the participants, 8 out of 10, do not have any limit on consumption of objects. That is in Jain religious practices. Despite the fact that the no overconsumption can destroy the nature, however, 2 out of 10 say they have a limitation on consumption. Current minimalistic practices, when I ask about this question, then they say less purchase, hoarding of object, donation, renunciation, fast, vrat, etc. So these are all common in Buddhism also or Hinduism also. So role of social media, they say YouTube and WhatsApp are most useful platform to promote these type of contents. They suggested that WhatsApp should be used to share among the social media network, and YouTube should be used for posting videos. About format and message and duration, most of the practitioners, 7 out of 10, prefer to consume content in video format, followed by text, 2 out of 10, and audio, very few. So they prefer to consume it in shorter format, ranging from 15 seconds to 5 minutes of videos. In terms of text, they don't want to read more than 250 words. So conclusion, meaning of minimalistic practices. Minimalistic practices are not popular term in Indian religious vocabulary, but in the name of aparigra, tyag, dan, santosh, it is very popular. So religious practitioners are aware about the minimalistic practices. Practitioners perform external form of minimalistic practices in daily life, as it is easy to identify, and they are able to identify its external nature, like less consumption and acquisition. However, it is difficult to identify internal form of minimalistic practices, as it is not part of daily practices. It has deeper meaning in the Indian religion, and most of the practitioners are not aware about its deep meaning. It means that gross and subtle meaning of minimalistic practices is required to be communicated. The meaning of minimalistic practices at external and internal levels should be clearly communicated. This will help in promoting minimalistic practices. Impact of overconsumption. The practitioners say that the overconsumption can destroy the existence. They don't have any consumption limit in the majority of the cases. It means that they are not aware about the severity of the problem. It is borrowed information. The self-acquired knowledge should result into practice. The disaster of overconsumption should be factually communicated through multiple sources. The fact related to minimum consumption per person can be useful to access for the loss or profit to the person and nature. Each product should be labeled with its nature cost in the process of production to create sensitiveness towards the nature. and some insights about practices, minimalistic practices, external, internal practices. And in the case of internal practices, I want to highlight attachment is self-torture. A small percentage of practitioners are engaged in detachment practices. They don't understand its deep meaning, value, and its implication in practical life. It is necessary to understand how mental attachment binds the person. It is clear that holding or possessing any identities or idea in mental form binds those who hold it as their part of their identity. It's create mental suffering, and holding the suffering is definitely not an intelligent process. Nobody wants to hold suffering, so holding any internal position is self-torture. Holding indicates the part of self, but in reality, it is not the self. So understanding of the internal form of minimalistic practices should be promoted to liberate a person from all type of identities. It is tool for freedom. It helps in transcending the physical and mental world and makes life lighter and easy to live. It is a powerful tool to free from physical and mental bondage. It can help in realizing the ultimate goal of all religious practices to transcend time and peace. The person who is not holding anything in mind cannot be in time. The cycle of time ends for the person who does not hold anything mentally. It is a tool for mental and physical freedom. The minimalistic practices have multiple benefits, including religious, social, personal, professional, and natural. Practitioners seem to be aware only in an elusive sense, and they don't have any real knowledge based on the right observation. Knowledge without practice means no real knowledge. It is ignorance. Tools for right knowledge should be promoted to get the real insights of minimalistic practices and its benefits among religious practitioners. It is impossible to hold garbage after knowing it that it is garbage. And the last, I will sum up, even this practice alone can solve all problems of humanity in religious sense. All suffering are directly or indirectly related to some forms of, in terms of object, person, ideas, thoughts, etc. This tool is very useful in non-identification with anything in time, space, and substance. In external or internal form, this leads to non-identification from all things, including our own body and, and mind. This makes life easy, lighter. If practiced in its deepest sense, it can solve the ecological problem by reducing our consumption, and it can purify mind through detachment, as not holding anything in time and space in substance means not attaching mind with anything in this world. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Prabhakar, for your interesting paper. Yes, I can say something new concept you include, and or you can say relate with Jain's concept. Now, sorry, sir, I can, with respect to our chairperson's request, I can request to Simi to ask a question uh, to Durgeshwari. Yeah. You have your seat, please.
Yeah. So, for the sake of question, I just want to ask the concept of energy. If you are going through the physical science, they are conceiving dark energy. If going through, if you are doing your paper regarding this particular paper, let me just. I have you gone through the dark energy? That's pardon?
This mic should be there.
Mic, I think that dark energy of physical science, and is there any connection with the Jaina philosophy? That's why, because it is Jaina philosophy. Definitely, it is a subtle one.
Yes. Because if you see soul, we say it is consciousness. Consciousness, we cannot see it, right? We can just feel it. We can sense it that we have a consciousness inside our us, right? So it is an energy, right? And if you see all the vices that we have in the world, like lying, stealing, or robbery, theft, all the vices, these are negative energies, right? The positive energies will always be the goodness, the good things that we have in the world. So that's why I have said that the Jainas are contributing uh, towards the dimensional earth, that is a war between good and evil. They are helping us to combat with the negative and positive energies. Yes. And I agree with you. We are living in a dark age, right? So it is a world of energies, like negative and positive energies, right? But with respect to everybody's belief, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Durgeshwari.
And it also needs a level of consciousness also to think to that everything is energy. Yes, we have to keep learning to yes, to understand things. Yeah.
Thank you. This question is for the last presenter. Can you elaborate a little more on this study, the case study that you did? You said you interviewed 60 people. Can you give a background? Was it scientific? Was it anecdotal? And what were the specific findings? Thank you.
Specific. I interviewed more than 100 birds. For this study, I interviewed around 60 people. And specific, if you can specifically ask, then I can answer about the question. Yeah.
But it was more anecdotal, or was it based on some sort of a scientific, was there, there's all these different things that make a scientific methodology.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
I did.
Thank you.
Initially, I told I did the perception survey. I used perception survey method, and it had open and close-ended questions. And in that question, I asked, "What do you mean by minimalistic practices?"
Mhm.
So most of them didn't understand minimalistic practices, but I use in the context of aparigraha, that is used in Jain. So in English, I thought this is the most appropriate word, psychologically and in the physical sense both. So not a single person out of 60.
Mhm.
Randomly, I did this survey randomly at different religious places. Not a single person out of 60. They told me anything about the process of anasakti, detachment, uh, in the for the question of meaning of minimalistic practices. So that was one question. Then there was also a question related to consumption. The limit to consumption, how many, in close-ended question, I asked how many objects do you, in terms of position or in terms of day-to-day basis consumption, do you have any limit? So I have given the option from 0 to 100. So most of them said, no, I don't have any limit as such. So that was strange for me. But in the case of, I did also for Buddhist and Hindu also. But in the case of Jain, they were aware about the external limitation. And they were doing. But in terms of 100, I didn't find in the random survey. Any another
No
question?
follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am a bit confused about your, work. It's interesting, but it creates confusion in my mind. At the one hand, your title of your paper is the minimum use of practicing in Jainism and social media in their promotion.
Right.
Social media, how they promote this minimalistic consumption.
Right.
So one way you are, what we can say, you are highlighting the merits of social media, and on the other hand, you are saying no, they have also some backdrop or the demerits of it. So how you can reflect that in your paper, and how you can conclude by saying that?
See, there is nothing in this universe. You can say ki it has only positive side. It has obviously negative side, and you are after reading my paper, you seems to be confused as you came. But at the time of submission of synopsis, most of them people were confused after reading the title, including vice chancellor of my university. So he put a question mark on that. So I asked, why did you put the question mark to my research director? So he should have, in that sense, he should have specified this question mark for this purpose. but just question mark. What do you mean by question mark? So he said he is a boss, he can question. Okay, of course he can question, but he should know what kind of question he is asking. And I should be aware about the question. So I can't answer your question if I am not aware about, if I am not understanding. So question does not give you idea of the question. The content of question give you idea about the question. So no, it is coming back to your question. Uh, it is contradictory because you have to choose certain mediums. In the ancient time, they used to communicate in group. And now you have only one platform, social media platform, and they are misusing, abusing, and using also for marketing so many things, including good, bad, and ugly products. So these are the good products. So I can use it. Still, if you have any doubt, then you can ask. Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Thank you so much, Prabhakar,
Thank
for your interaction with ma'am and proper understanding about the issue. And I can say again, sorry for denying the questions because and Rahul sir's request because as you know, consider life is equal time is equal to life. So in that sense, I thought we have to manage many ways, and time is nothing but life. And now I can extend this session, and because of that, I can say thank you all the paper presentators for their good elaboration, having good concept, and we learn a lot. I can also say thank to all the participants here. And now I would like to request the chairperson of this session, Dr. Rahul Kumar Maurya. Sir, please you try to summarize it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Rajiv. I would like to thank Professor Mukul Raj Mehta and Dr. Anand Kumar Jain for giving me this serious job and this opportunity to chair the session. I really find it difficult job to chair the session where you have to be very careful in listening all the presentations and then formulate certain ideas. Whereas being in the audience, it is always easier because you are there at your liberty to listen whatever you find and then you can respond to. Uh, so I would like to thank each and every speaker. They have made a fabulous presentations, speaking on one or the other theme. And since I have been there from the morning sessions, I have seen, even from yesterday's also, the seminar today seems to be a kind of extension of what we have been discussing from yesterday's onwards. Many of the themes are overlapping, and yet people are making their unique contributions. So the first presentation we have by Dr. Vivekanand Jainji, and he has spoken on Jainism and ecology, right? Where we just try to investigate a relation between human and the other living and non-living world. And the concept that he has emphasized was aparigraha. And then I can see this aparigraha, the concept of aparigraha can also be led to also non-violence and saving the environment and sustainable development, right? So when you are becoming less and less consuming person, right, you are hurting less and less to the environment. In a way, you are degrading less and less this environment. And I just forget who mentioned this idea that when you are using certain object, right, you are sharing the responsibility of the cost that has gone into making it, right? So in a way, if you are
a kind of person who is extremely uh, blind or unjudicious in material possessions, then of course you are harming the environment. Not only you are harming the environment, it is also leading to a kind of becoming violent to this. And this could be violence not against the environment, but this could be also violent against the human beings, right? When you are possessing a huge wealth and material gains where the others are deprived of creating their own well-being, right? It is a kind of violence that you are committing against the others, because you are depriving others to maintain their uh, physical and social well-beings, right? And it also leads to a kind of sustainable development, which has become a modern day of saying, right? Because we know how ruthless we have become, right, in terms of exploiting the natural wealth, right? And that's why it is now becoming it is becoming an imperative for human beings to look back on how we have been uh, going ahead, right? And that's where the idea of sustainable development will take us back to what Jainism has already been talking about. So in a way, a lot of ideas that we are discussing today, or which are becoming a kind of imperative today, can be seen available in the old tradition of Jainism, right? Next, we have the presentation by Dr. Shreyans Kumar Jain, and he talked about fasting and disease. This is again looking at the kinds of modern issues which are coming up, and how Jainism could be a kind of precursor in terms of a certain solutions or suggestions how to deal with it. So in that sense, we can learn a lot from this tradition in terms of fasting, how this fasting can help us, right? Not necessarily that when the Jain thinkers were talking about fasting, they might have really envisaged that this is really going to help in killing or helping in coming out of the disease called cancer, right? But though this idea of fasting is really helping, and the modern scientists are using the concept called autophagy, right? And where the fasting can really help to a great extent, right? So this is also a kind of fascinating area where the Jain tradition can shed a lot of light. Next, we have the presentation by Praveen. He has talked about Anartha Dand and Anartha Dandubrat, right? Where he emphasized that unnecessary use or unnecessary violence, right? And then the Anartha Dandubrat means we need to take vows against committing any kind of unnecessary violence. And all these concepts which each speaker has talked about, they seem to be all connected, right? So when we are talking about aparigraha, right, and when it focuses on minimizing your needs, right, because you can't really satisfy your greeds, and if you are hell-bent on satisfying your greeds, then actually it becomes self-destructive. So and that is where the idea of looking at unnecessary violence or excessive use of anything, right, might be deeply problematic. And that's why the tradition of Jainism talking about taking anarthadandu vrat can really be helping to a great extent. And that's why this is really a kind of illuminating idea which is already there in the Jain tradition. Next, we have a presentation by Durgesari, and she has talked about Jainism and its contribution to the world, where she focused about the energy which is kind of good energy and bad energy, right? The energy that talks about upliftment, right, or elevating your spiritual force, and there is a negative energy that talks about leading to a kind of depression or stress. So in a way, the study, I mean, Durgeshwari has focused on that why we need to inculcate and develop this positive energy, which can be helping to a great extent in terms of ensuring the physical and mental and social well-being of each and every individual. So next we have Prabhakar's paper, who has talked about minimalistic practices. Though other speakers in earlier sessions have also talked about, but he has brought out a different dimension of this minimalistic uh, practices, right, which are nothing but, you can say, the byproduct of this Jain tradition, which has already focused on this aparigraha practice. So his idea is to understand this minimalistic practices in terms of internal detachment and external detachment. So this external detachment he means by doing away with material gains, right? And this internal attachment means where he focuses on giving away the kinds of identities that we form, right? And there can be a different kinds of identities. There can be an identity between teacher and student. There can be identities between parents and relations, the identities among the friends, the identity of religion, the identity of caste. And the moment you form your any particular identity, right, it restricts your unending dimensions in which the human being can unfold, right? And that is where it is committing violence against your own being. So in a way, this internal detachment through these minimalistic practices that he has talked about is also a very unique understanding. And the role of social media in terms of propagation of minimalistic practices, I would like to say, and which I think has already come in the discussion, that this any advent of technology does not surface with its own proclaimed and professed goal, right? It is for human beings who have to decide how to use the technology, right? So technology can be really liberating, and technology can also be enslaving. Now today we all understand, people are talking about WhatsApp university, right? And now this is also a kind of social media dimension where people are creating their own very quick knowledge, whereas it has no connection with the real knowledge. So in a way, we have to be very careful and judicious in the use of technology so that technology can be used for liberating the people and not enslaving the people. Uh, so in a way, all the presentations have been brilliant, and they have talked about one or the other dimensions. So I would like to thank each and every speaker, but some of the important perspectives that I would like to stress here, that whenever you are looking at any tradition or any text, philosophically, we need to evaluate and examine that tradition and text for two purposes. One, you need to see whether that tradition and text is internally consistent or not. The kinds of jargon and the concepts that they have used, whether they look completely consistent or not. The goal that they are professing, whether the entire concepts, whether they all look neat and consistent or not. So in a way, you can, after critically examining, you can find out whether to what extent a particular tradition is really consistent, right, tenable, arguably, and to what extent it is not. Another is that you need to examine it from your own time, right? Because it is really difficult, to my understanding, that any philosophical system can rise above the time and space. So, and this is where I can see there are often problems. Suppose when you go to any doctor, right? and doctor has given you a different kinds of medicine, and he asks you, take the red medicine in the morning, right? Now, you can't take it literally that every red medicines will be taken in the morning only, right? Because doctor has said, because that medicine has to be taken in the morning, not the red medicine has to be taken in the morning. Similarly, many of the concepts, right? Now, I mean, this concept of taking food, right? So whether it is the interval of timing, right, in terms of ensuring the starving period between the two meals, right, is important for the body, or not taking meals, right, in the night, right? So whether stopping meals taking in the night is important, or it is uh, ensuring the time frame, right? And that can ensure your physical well-being. And another, by doing this, you can see, and you can also do justice to the tradition and text. That is how the tradition can grow. Otherwise, it is doomed to die, right? So we need to do a philosophical justice to any kind of text and tradition, so that it can continuously grow, and it can really guide us and suggest us for our time, for our challenges. So we would expect from the researchers to keep these ideas into mind when we are really reflecting upon any philosophical text or tradition. With this, I would like to thank the audiences who have really participated in asking questions, because you see this, it is not a kind of monologue where speakers come and speak to themselves. They are here to establish a dialogue, and when you are asking a questions, you are enhancing your own knowledge, and you are also making occasion for speakers to understand it in a different light, right? The light in which you have asked a question. So in a dialogical process, right, speaker and the listener both grow. And I think this is where we need to be very focused, that each and every talk should be participative from both the ends. So with this only, I would like to stop. And once again, I would like to thank each and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rahul Kumar Moria, as a chairperson of this session. You presided very well. Now I can say thank one and all. Now there is tea break for some times, and after that, valedictory sections. Continue. I'm sorry. So it is going to continue.
So we are continuing the valedictory session, and we can have a high tea after the valedictory. Thank you. Thank you, Rajiv Lochan sir, for the session, and for all the speakers for the presentation.